For years, Anakin Skywalker had huge potential and looked like the future of the Jedi's moving forward. However, all that would change when manipulation, anger and fear crept into his day-to-day. That would be the moment where Anakin would start to become Darth Vader, and that would become the moment everything changed, and here's why. But before we talk about how everything went off the rails for Anakin Skywalker, we need to set the scene. In the midst of the Clone Wars in the galaxy, it seemed to be that Anakin was the beacon of hope. He seemed to be the guy that everyone would be relying on in the future of the Jedi for him to be the new face, because he had all the potential, all the skill, and everything that would be necessary to become a powerful Jedi like a Yoda or an Obi-Wan Kenobi. However, that would start to derail slightly when the fear element started to creep in. He kept on having visions of Padme's death. And yes, that would be something that would eventually happen. But that fear led him into manipulation, because Palpatine around that time was trying to coax Anakin to switch sides. And obviously, Anakin wanted to learn more. He felt that, as well as that fear that he was having, that he wanted to be a sponge a little bit. He wanted to learn more, but when the council looked like that they were pushing him away a little bit from his point of view and not into the business side of stuff, he was a little bit feeling isolated. He was now feeling on the outside looking in, and he didn't like that. He wanted to know everything. He wanted to absorb that knowledge. And when Palpatine sort of gave him some words of wisdom and tried to basically say, I'll teach you everything. If you come with me, I'll do this, I'll do that, promised him the world. Anakin's life as a Jedi would start to unravel listening to Palpatine, who was actually a Sith Lord. But Anakin's words with Palpatine would be much larger in effect, as this would eventually lead to Anakin becoming Darth Vader. And I'll tell you why. Because they found out what Palpatine was doing, that he was actually a Sith Lord. The Jedi's tried to go and arrest him, but then Anakin intervened and eventually led to killing Mace Windu and a lot of the other counselors. This was the first step in the betrayal of the Jedi's. This was the first step in him finally seeing the power that he had and seeing the potential that he had. And Anakin then became Darth Vader. He was renamed Darth Vader in that moment. And then Palpatine then basically gave him the orders to kill the younglings and to kill other people, which was part of the Jedi Masters and Jedi Council, in which literally just set the world that we knew at that time of peace, tranquility, apart from with the Clone Wars going on. It seemed to be a nice Jedi community, and up until that moment where Anakin betrayed the Jedis. When Obi-Wan found out after the attack on the temple, there was only one thing that would lead to. Anakin killed the leader of Mustafar. It seemed only right that the battle would commence on Mustafar. Between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, this was like the ultimate. They didn't want to fight each other, but they had to, because this was the step too far. Anakin was way out of line and Obi-Wan Kenobi had to take him down. Obi-Wan taught him a lesson and beat him clearly and left him for dead. As Palpatine takes his dead corpse, what looked to be a dead corpse, taking him back and created him into Darth Vader. The aftermath of Darth Vader's rise seemed to be practically the end of the Jedis. The Jedis would then be becoming littler and littler by the day, losing Jedi after Jedi as Darth Vader was on a mission to hunt them all down. The aftermath of Padme sadly did die, and there was nothing Darth Vader could do about it. Luke Skywalker and Leia was born, but then were separated. And it all seemed inevitable where the trajectory of the Jedis were going, which was down, and the Empire was growing day by day. This thing didn't look like a replication of what the Jedi community was. This looks like a complete evil kind of alternative, which the Sith ruled and had an empire, and it was one of the biggest villains in movie history. If you enjoy breaking down the exact moments where franchises, series has changed for either the better, for the worse, then don't forget to subscribe, as this is Everything Changed, and you want to be alerted to our next episode. Darth Vader would go on to become one of the greatest villains of all time, spanning those 3 films, creating a galaxy of fear, taking down the Republic, taking down the Jedis, and becoming somebody more than just a name. It became somebody everybody feared. The moment Darth Vader rose was the moment everything changed, and not for the better.